No, we're live.
We're live, Steph.
Hi, and welcome to today's Athlete to Business Athlete feature. We've got a very exciting guest today, so we'll get straight into it. Who are you and what was your sport?
Geez, that's a big question, Steph. I'm still trying to figure out who I am. But depends who you ask to, my wife or the family. But no, my name's Kirk Reynoldson. I played professional rugby league in the NRL for about 10 years, circa around 2000s, late 90s, into the back end of 2010. So that was my chosen sport.
Unreal. Now,
Is
I
that
know
enough
you've got
rap?
something going. Yeah, no, perfect. People can Google you want to know some more. Now, I know you've got something going on now, but I would love to know, did you have something whilst you were playing sport to pursue outside of sport?
I always had a really keen interest around economics, and I know you kind of glaze over when people say economics, but for me it was around the whole supply and demand, like what sets prices, market philosophy, like around what makes someone want to buy your house or buy your product or anything around business and the workings of business as well, like what supply and demand, like what are the factors that go into the variables of supply and what goes into demand. I just found that really interesting as an athlete. And I guess as an athlete, I was lucky enough to be around some really awesome sponsors that were involved in big businesses that just opened the hood and let me go in. So, that was kind of my story and my interest while I was playing. I was always pretty curious. I love to learn about philosophy, all these different, subjects in life. And I think as an athlete, it was a great thing to do because, it really took my mind off performance and playing and just give me a little bit of breathing space to re-energise so I could rip back into the whole training schedule.
Definitely, it would have helped with that balance for sure. But that definitely explains perhaps what you're doing now. So I have heard a little bit about it, but I'm super keen to learn more. So please tell the people, what are you doing now?
So myself and my wife had a really crazy idea, probably people would say stupid idea about 3 years ago. For us, we're into the stage of our life, we had children. We just had newborns. And our life admin was ridiculous. And I've hated life admin since the day dot, right? I'm talking bills, contracts, events, appointments, calendars, your photo album. I just can't. I don't know why, but myself and my wife have just had this thing around it. We hate it. And then when the kids come, it was just tenfold. And we literally went from there. We had some really good friends in technology. And we put together a solution that we thought, would solve the problem well. For us, it was purely bringing documents, calendars, all these different calendars. Like we had 7 calendars going at once, and it was a mess. So we just brought it all into the one place and lists and made it really easy to share, built in like really good smart notifications. And Eggy was born. So Eggy is our startup. We're a tech startup platform. Our target market are busy parents, and it's actually 10x mums. They're our target market. So they're the ones that kind of have all this mental load. Like for us, if there was a light bulb moment, it was around, I read a book by a neuroscientist called Daniel Levitin called The Organised Mind. And he really explained and articulated to myself and Katie what the problem was with the admin and the pain. And it was that it wasn't categorized. It wasn't organized properly, and that our brains aren't ready for the information overload of our current times. So we started there, mate, and now we're just about to push to the US middle of the year. We're cruising past 30,000 downloads in Australia, and we turned on subscriptions last year, which are growing really good. We've had our challenges like everyone in business, especially a husband and wife team. So that has its challenges in itself. We're cranking.
Excited for you, and it seems like a really good platform. I have a couple of friends who are starting families now, and I just don't know how they do it. So you're filling a well-needed need there. I know you come from an athlete background, and you're naturally driven and you're motivated. But once you realised, we actually have a market here and we have a solution for it, how did you actually make it happen? So maybe you could give a bit of insight into your thought processes or how you went about problem solving to actually make it live and make it a real product.
I guess you've got to make it happen. I guess the same thing as being a professional athlete. You know, it's all about you, right? It's back onto you. And from what we've learned, like what I learned as a professional athlete, and this is what I love athletes because, and my wife was in high performance as well. She did her PhD. I know a little bit different to being a professional athlete, but she was put through the grinder as well. The thing that we learned from our past lives and careers was team. You know, we needed great people, and we were non-technical founders, so we needed to find people who had technical experience and could plug our gaps. It's like any team sport. You know, we had to find the people that, one, could help us build the product, two, could wrap a commercial strategy around that, and three, like, that could help us with distribution. You know, like as far as, you know, what we quickly learned was that anyone can build anything. And I think this is a general model with business, is that anyone can build anything. But if you don't have a distribution model, or I know we were just talking about marketing before, Steph, if you don't have a good story to tell and people aren't buying into your, whatever it is you're trying to, you know, to get across and the problem that you're solving, and you can't help them understand that, you're behind the eight ball. So, yeah, I don't know if that answered your question well there, Steph, but we started with people. That's where we started. And I guess coming from high performance was, we knew that good people are everything. So it took us a little bit longer. You know, we've been going at this for 3 years now. We didn't want to go to the grow at all costs. We have raised funds, but we knew that good people would be make or break for us. And so we took our time with people.
Their own story to tell, but it seems perhaps a common narrative is that if you have a gap of knowledge or you need an area filled, you either ask questions or you seek the people. So, yeah, definitely thank you for your insight there.
No worries, Steph.
Cool.
There was one other thing too. Sorry, mate, a little bit of a lag.
No, you go. No, you're good.
One thing that I'd really love to recommend, and I hate recommending books because I know this is such a personal thing, but Wisdom of the Crowds was a book that was recommended to us early because we were non-technical founders when we started. We didn't have a lot of experience in project management, in product management, in building tech. So that book is written by 2 Stanford grads, and it talks about how you can literally concentrate 100 years of experience and learning in the experts, and you go to the experts to get background information. Like if you need to make a decision, and the hardest bit about being a founder is you've got limited resources and you have to allocate them really efficiently. But if you get the experts, you get a group of 5 of them and you need to make a really, really important decision, that just fast tracks your trajectory. So I'd highly recommend people put together a brains trust advisory board, especially athletes. I know that when I first come out as an athlete, you know, I had the engine, right? We had, you know, you got the determination, you got the discipline, you've got the will to achieve a goal and make things and finish things, right? But I guess plugging those gaps of knowledge, that's how we did that really quickly, was surround yourself with experts, run everything past them. I think you come from an athletic background, you're the expert, you become a professional in your own environment. Then you get into this environment where you have to be okay with feeling vulnerable and ask for help. Like, I don't know how to do a financial model. You need to tell that to your experts. They'll tell you exactly what needs to be done. Don't hold on to that vulnerability.
Very inspiring. Thank you for sharing. All right, final question. So what advice would you give your younger self or someone who finds themselves in similar shoes to you as an athlete?
We all have this, as an athlete, you have these ideas around what you think you might like to do. The reality is that you're going to go through, and I do some work with transitioning athletes out of the NRL, you're going to go through pain when you retire. And actually figuring out what you don't want to do is just as important as finding what you want to do. You have to remember that initially at the start, you're not going to find something like rugby league was everything for me. I loved it. I enjoyed it. I was passionate about it. It was everything. You have to just be okay with feeling that it's not going to be like that when you finish up, you know. So, but just keep trying to find those areas that give you the same drive and the same inspiration that you get around playing sport. Because, you know, at the end of the day, people have these thoughts around what they want to be, and it might be driven by external things like I want money, I want this, I want that, all these things. But if you don't have that intrinsic value and that determination and drive and passion around a subject, you're just going to fall flat on your face. So that would have been my one tip to athletes: is try and find it. It's hard because you're playing, so you're always focused on performance and the game. But there are clues, and you will see those clues what you're interested in, and build a brain's trust around that. Like I know that, like for myself, I was always interested in economics, business, supply and demand. So from day one, I was always talking to our sponsors around those things. So just immerse yourself in that environment.
Very powerful, and I think our audience is going to really take that on board. So thank you so much, Kirk, for your time this morning and for sharing your story about Eggy. Congratulations on everything so far.
No worries. Thank you for having me. This is the shortest podcast I've ever been on. I'm usually on about 50 minutes to 60 minutes. So this is awesome. There'll be some good